Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Trade the Chain. It is Tuesday, February 16th. I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Gorman, and our crypto market analyst, CJ and Monty from marketrebellion.com. And today's actually going to be a fun day. Well, one, it was a great day in early morning hours, EST time. Bitcoin finally hit 50,000, which was a great check of the box. We just need to get up and over that and stay over it. And when we go to the big boards later, we'll let you know how that's going. But also today's episode is going to be fun because the four of us are going to give our top three long-term picks for the year and why we are picking them. Because according to Ryan, it's altcoin season 2021. Yeah, and now I'll hand it over to Ryan for the plug. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is for informational and educational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice. Do not listen to us.
Ever.
Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a 24/7 community of traders around the world of all ages and abilities using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market and trade like a crypto insider. TradeTheChain.com gives you a 14-day trial. And looking at today's coins page, we see that sentiment is bearish to neutral over the hourly and daily terms, but long-term, we are still bullish. We'll get more on that in a second. CJ?
And marketrebellion.com/crypto. Get exclusive access to trade ideas, our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. You can start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. We appreciate that. But going over to the big boards, here we have Bitcoin. And, you know, kind of struggling with that 50K psychological resistance level. You know, I think Peter Brandt had a very nice tweet this morning about the 50K level, saying that, you know, it really is completely arbitrary when you look at the actual chart. But humans in psychology, you know, we tend to assign value to those larger round numbers. Personally, I don't think it'll be too much of a factor. I think we'll be able to smash through 50K here, likely in the next week or two, depending on price action. But as you can see on the one-day chart here, we're remaining in, I don't know if I'd say overbought territory, but we are in a strength, we are experiencing strength in this bullish trend because we're above the top Bollinger Band and are hitting that green one. So essentially that is just telling me we're likely for a interim continuation. Let's check out the 4-hour time frame for a closer look. So we're kind of plateauing a little bit here on the 4-hour chart, but as you can see, we're still putting in higher highs and higher lows on the downside. And so this trajectory is shaping up very nicely with that continual resistance level at around 49 to 50K. You know, we are tentatively rejected at that similar top band on the 4-hour, but we're still bullish neutral and is experiencing some pretty nice price action for the interim. Some other things, aside from the Keltner channels, I just want to add one other indicator and see how we're looking on the Williams alligator. And as you can see, we're still holding very nice support at this middle point, very similar to how we were on the Keltner channels. So a lot of what this shows to me is that, you know, the trend is getting a little tired here as we run into the 50K level, but there's nothing immediate that's telling me that we're going to go back to 45K or even 47K. You know, I'm feeling that the bulls are testing this level of 50K continually, and I'm still of the mindset that we will continue upwards towards that ultimate resistance level of 62K in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But with that being said, I'll hand it off to Monty now.
Thank you, CJ. Yeah, I think you made some great points there. And like Alex said, this is really an important milestone for Bitcoin in many ways. We're kind of checking an important box here. And I think you make a good point, CJ, when you say that although it's an important psychological milestone, technically there isn't too much that would result in 50K being resistance. But I just want to talk about why I think this, although it was a brief breach of 50K, I still think this was a very significant night for Bitcoin and is very bullish for the macro outlook in the next couple months. Because as you can see, we've kind of been teasing with this 50K level for a couple days now, right? We've been going up to this level just to be rejected. But like CJ pointed out, each time the lows get a little bit higher. We're setting constant higher lows, and that's a very bullish indication in itself. Also, we have this setup support from the 9 all the way back here, and it looks like these candles are actually kind of respecting this support level. But one thing I think is very important to remember is that every time we get up to 50K, this resistance level becomes a little bit weaker. As you can see, looking at kind of the volume down here, we saw some really significant volume when we breached 50K right here. So I think that really shook a lot of the sell orders that were placed around 50K out of the market. I'm sure there were lots of long-term profit-taking sell orders placed right around this level because, like we said, it's an important psychological level. So I think traders that have been in this since 10K, a lot of them probably took profits here just based on the psychological factor of being up 40K on a single investment. So I do think it's encouraging that we're shaking out some of these orders and we're not dipping down as far as we had been when we were previously testing this level. It looks like we're actually kind of consolidating here around 48K. So in my opinion, we're looking set to breach this level in the next couple of days. If we can continue to see increases in volume like we're seeing today relative to what we saw yesterday, I think that's a very encouraging sign. And yeah, the more we test this level, the weaker it becomes and the sooner we will breach it.
So the rally today up past 50K, that really started in earnest after it was disclosed that MicroStrategy is offering another convertible note that for 600 million that it plans to buy Bitcoin with. And shortly after that news came out, sentiment shot through the roof on Trade the Chain. I think we hit something like 90 on the sentiment score. Yeah, look right there, Alex. If you go to say 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m. at the peak of that green mountain.
This is exactly, you're absolutely right, Ryan. So this is exactly when we hit that 50,000 mark and crested. So keep going. Sorry about that.
No, not a problem. And you can see how sentiment initially shot up and began rising right before price rose. And the rise there was nearly, as I often get mocked for saying, in lockstep. But it really was. And it goes back to the point, right, that Bitcoin, it feels like is so news cycle dependent. And until you get a news story, it kind of just trades sideways. And then you get a news story, it gets that shot in the arm, it goes up. And then ultimately, it kind of sells off a little, trades sideways, we get the next news story, and it goes up again. Do you think we're going to need another news-driven event to breach 50K, or do you think it will just naturally grind higher based on supply and demand?
Yeah, I think you definitely have a good point there that this, especially the last month, has been primarily driven by news-related events. But I expect, you got to look at it in a few ways. I think one, these news events are catalyst for more news events. It's kind of the domino effect. So I do think that's something that we should take into consideration. But I do think even without the presence of any fundamental news, Bitcoin is still postured technically to break above 50K. I think just looking at the technicals here, one thing that CJ and I always talk about is the presence of higher highs and lower and higher lows. And this is really hitting all those check boxes here. If there was a correction, I would expect it to have kind of happened here when we kind of got this reversal off the 9. But because the news kind of kept us afloat here, I think we don't really need any more news catalysts to keep us above this level. So really, it could just be a matter of retail demand that drives us higher, or just another big institutional purchase. I don't necessarily think it needs to be news driven. I think the news can take the credit for kind of elevating to the us to this level and allowing us to somewhat consolidate above this level. But I don't necessarily think we need another big news-related event to break above 50K. It looks, the charts are looking strong in themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also want to speak to that point by sharing this one chart, namely the weekly. It's just such a bullish chart from a technical perspective. When you get a green 2 closing above a green 1, which is an engulfing candle above the previous moving average, or Bollinger Band rather. But also to that point about news, because one point that Alex and I discussed yesterday on the show was that there's likely going to be more corporations, more institutions who will announce that they bought Bitcoin. So is that priced into the market yet? Because there's a high likelihood we will see that in the next month's filings.
Do you think that wave will be more significant now as companies try and get in before Bitcoin makes another parabolic run and they may get in too late? Or will they wait until BNY Mellon's custody offering comes online? Because that's something they're more familiar with and probably already use for their corporate treasury. So it wouldn't be much of a leap for them to do it then.
I mean, that's a good question, Ryan. And, it further expands those institutional options for those corporates, right? Because like we've been saying all along, even when the OCC back in beginning of summer decided to let banks custody crypto, the thing was we were saying, hey, the people in crypto are going to stick to the native service providers. But this is going to be a catalyst for those corporates to jump in. So once MicroStrategies came in, and using the institutional side, I think all the corporates now, this is what those banks are going to get for customers. I think it's a good thing. It's odd how, the whole narrative of crypto is against big banks, and yet it looks more and more each day like they're getting more integral into the situation. I just want to leave one thing on on the note of BTC. Ryan, you spoke about news, and you can see how the news jutted this up quite significantly, about $1,200 to that 50,000 1 hour mark. But, according to the charts, I'm feeling really bullish. Yesterday's episode, CJ said it was the most bullish he felt coming into a Trade the Chain episode. I'm saying today is probably mine because we did check that box of 50K. And then you look at, there's nothing showing that we're not going to start using 48.5, 49 as support moving forward. And you can already see that sentiment start to go up. So I expect price to follow that trend. Maybe by the time this show airs, the price will already be going up.
That's a good point, right? Because we didn't get that massive wave of sells, that wall of selling that people expected that would send it back to 45 or even 40K. So you might have a point there. And one more point I wanted to get to about talking about crypto native firms and corporates using traditional banks. In the traditional world, firms don't only use one custodian, right? So there's plenty of room for the crypto native custodians and the BNY Mellons and the hybrids like an Anchorage who have that national bank charter or applied for it, to all kind of work together. There's plenty of pie to go around, so to speak. There's no firm uses one custodian.
And don't put NYDIG out of the mix. NYDIG is now the second largest, I believe, corporate holder or institutional holder with 1.2 or 1.3 billion in Bitcoin. And they are a fully NYDIG regulated and certified trust as well. So I think there may be some, they keep quiet usually, Ryan, but I think they may have a hand in some of what's been going on lately with the corporates, and we don't know it.
They filed for an ETF today, a Bitcoin ETF, NYDIG.
I'm going to file for an ETF too, just so I can be cool. All right, CJ, Monty, take us over to Ethereum. Let us know what's happening on that side before we go to the show winning top 3 picks that we're all going to do. Oh boy, I just saw Justin Sun got scared.
Yeah, he's paying celebrities to promote Tron, and he hit up Marquise Brownlee, one of the most popular of that. And Marquise just exposed him and published the email.
Really?
Publicly.
How much was he offering?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and double check, but they were offering quite a bit. And
Wow.
so as you can imagine, Tron got quite a bit of flack and
I mean,
pitchback.
I'll just put it out there. I'll take half of what they're offering to do
Matt, I'll take that too. Yeah, it seems like a good idea.
it.
Sign me up.
But no, in all seriousness though, for newcomers to the space, I think it's important to be aware of those types of marketing tactics and those types of growth tactics surrounding a project, because can you guys tell me, like, what's the latest monumental advancement or innovation that Tron has done? Because they don't innovate necessarily, and when relative to the competitors, and they try marketing ploys like this to make their currency relevant in the 2021 cycle. Got off in a little bit of a tangent there.
It's almost doubled since the beginning of the year, CJ. I'm wondering if it actually has doubled. I'm wondering.
But how many celebrities? How many celebrities, Ryan, have they paid to endorse it? And people who are new to this space think that's an honest endorsement.
I'm wondering if that's off the back of all these endorsements that were kind of flying under the radar until he got smoked today.
Marketing is important for altcoins. I mean, that's just the nature of
It was 26 cents on January 1st, and now it's 51 cents. Go figure. Huh.
What's Hex doing? Go Hex.
We don't talk about Hex.
All right, Ethereum.
So Ethereum and the alts, they got hit a little bit more when Bitcoin sold off. We talk about the high beta in many of these assets, and so naturally, when we go down, the altcoins and ETH are going to get hit a little harder than Bitcoin and are going to be a little less resilient. As you can see, we're seeing a kind of collapse of the Williams alligator moving averages here, which is not necessarily support or resistance, since price is just so close to it at this particular point. But you know, I'm still neutral on Ethereum despite the recent pullback, and that's just because there's so much bullish fundamentals going on in the space currently. Let's check out the daily chart to see a little bit more data here.
Quick question, CJ. When you see a confluence of the alligators like that, are you expecting a reversal, almost like a 9?
No, the Williams alligators and moving averages in general are lagging indicators, meaning that they can only display previous price action. So I will primarily just use them as critical levels for support or resistance, but they don't necessarily give us they're not like a predictive indicator. Like the sequential indicator, for instance, say we were on like a 5 or a 6. Then you could predict and say, oh, well, we're probably going to get a pullback if we reach this 9 because we know that the 9 is a sell signal. And as you can see, you know, it was a very insignificant dip, but people bought it back up very, very quickly after we touched that, that top moving average on the Williams alligator. And we're doing something very similar right now too in Ethereum. So as you can see, we have this top level of support from the green channel here at around 1745. And then also we have the setup trend line support level coming from this previous TD cell 9. So a lot of support here for Ethereum at 1745. At the very least, you know, I expect this red level to hold. As you've seen historically, a lot of trends will typically not go below this green or red level when we're in bull markets for Ethereum. So just some thoughts there, but I got to say I'm just pretty neutral all around. But I am expecting a pop in the north direction as we go on these next couple of weeks.
And to buy that dip.
Buy the dip.
Yeah. Ethereum is actually one of my picks for the 3. So do we want to get to that?
Geez, you're getting ahead of the schedule.
This guy.
I mean, I could get into it right now, and then I'll just.
All right. Ryan, what do you have on Ethereum? We're cutting Monty out until his pick.
No, because I was going to say, hey, it's great that you mentioned it's going up today because that's one of my 3 picks, but Monty has to be a Tommy Topper over here.
No, I mean it is looking good. As you can see, we still have some upward momentum in the sentiment now. It's much like Bitcoin lockstep, as Mr. Gorman likes to say. But we're gonna skirt right past this. We are now gonna go in. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
No, actually, no. I'll save it. I'll save it for my picks.
Oh, geez, everybody. Okay, now I can see this is going to be like chaos in kindergarten. So I'm going to pick what the order of people going around is. We're going to give our top 3 long-term picks for the year and why we believe they are. It doesn't mean our only picks. We only were allowed to do 3, or we'll be here all night, folks. Okay. Monty's going to go first.
I was going to say I'm 8 miling this. I am
All
not
right,
going
so
first.
are we doing one at a time? Should I go with all 3?
You do all 3 and why. It's going to be Monty first, and then when you're done, I will select the next participant.
All right, let's get it. All right, so I already spoiled this one, but my first pick is ETH. And CJ covered a lot of the technical reasons. One thing I was also going to point out is how we hit this all-time high, have a very nice support level here that seems to be proving valid. So this is a good level to watch for a breakdown. And I do think ETH will hold strong at this level. I don't see it dipping below this level in the next few days. But most of my reason for being bullish on ETH has to do with kind of my belief in its utility and my belief in the DeFi market. So I think it's already kind of playing out, but I think the retail investor is going to be so important to low cap alts and to DeFi in particular. And when you look at DeFi, I mean, you can't be bullish on any of these assets without also being bullish on ETH. Just take a look at the top DeFi assets and the chain that they're created on. It's almost all Ethereum. So there's very good reason to believe that Ethereum will benefit massively from retail speculation in the DeFi sector, which I expect to be very strong. So another encouraging factor beyond just the DeFi, we also have very positive long-term sentiment of 72. Daily sentiment is bearish, but I think that's likely just the result of us recently hitting an all-time high. And another thing that I think is very encouraging is the lack of upward resistance below or above 2000. There really just is not much. There's not really any resistance at all above 2K. So once ETH does breach this level, which I expect to happen as soon as this market starts to really kind of pick up again, and I think Bitcoin will kind of lead the way here. And once Bitcoin breaks above 50, ETH will follow. But I expect the beta with ETH to be even higher than what we can expect to see in Bitcoin. So I'm really expecting good things for ETH, not just on a technical level, but also because of the sentiment and also because of the fact that I believe that DeFi is going to be a significant driving force in the market in the next year. And that's all I got for ETH. I'm going to move on to my next one quickly, and that is Cardano. And Cardano is one I know a lot of our fans love Cardano. I always read the comments, and whenever we talk about it, there's a lot of people that are a part of this army. And a lot of people might think that it's due for a strong reversal following this absolutely parabolic run-up of the last 2 weeks. But really, for me, I think the last couple of days have kind of proven that it's not going below 66 cents anytime soon. And I think the upside potential is really tremendous here. I kind of look at it as a step down the food chain from ETH almost. And as you take a step down, I expect the beta to be even higher during a parabolic uptrend. So I think there's significant psychological resistance here at $1. But I think this is all going to kind of happen at once, right? We're going to see Bitcoin break above 50K. We're going to see ETH break above 2K and Cardano break above $1. And when that happens, I expect Cardano to see the most significant move to the upside, followed by ETH and then Bitcoin. So a lot of my choices here are rooted in the fact that I'm just trying to maximize beta during a bullish market cycle. And also I want to quickly just talk about the sentiment here. So another one with the sentiment very high on the long term, 83. So yeah, another very good sentiment, strong technicals, more overbought than ETH, but still good support to the downside. and not much resistance to the upside. So also bullish on Cardano going forward. And my last choice is another fan favorite, and that is HBAR, Hedera Hash Graph. And this is kind of a nice mix for me between Cardano and ETH in the sense that it's a very good combination of technicals and of sentiment. So the technicals, although we've experienced a parabolic uptrend in the last 3 weeks, the technicals here are very strong. I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I love these higher highs. And the way that HBAR has set these higher highs that also then act as downward resistance, I think this is just a really nice looking upward chart. And despite the upward movement, it doesn't seem as overbought as many of the other assets that have experienced this much of a price change. Further, we have absolutely tremendous sentiment data. One of the best long-term sentiment data is available on Trade the Chain is HBAR with 93. So very bullish on this. And I think this is another one that's going to really appeal to the retail trader because it has utility. It has a good price point that you can make a very profitable trade on. The technicals are sound and the sentiment is good. So I think when we enter this next parabolic uptrend for all the assets, HBAR is going to be one that really is the focus of lots of retail capital, and as a result will perform tremendously well. So those are my 3 picks. I'm expecting a great 2021 for all 3 of those picks and for the whole market in general. So I will pass it off there.
All right. There it is from Monty. Ryan, you're up.
All right, thanks, Alex. So my 3 picks, I'll let you know at the beginning. They're Uniswap, VGX, and ETH, right? Altcoin season, baby. So with Uniswap, they announced today, I think, or yesterday, they've now reached a cumulative 100 billion in trading volume, right? And you might say, okay, they've been around for a while, since last year. 100 billion in trading volume isn't that much when you compare it to the likes of an LMAX or a Coinbase, what have you. But their trading volumes were virtually nothing. They didn't exist at this time last year. And now we're at about $1 billion a day, give or take, just under $1 billion a day. So, and to start the year, they were at Christmas time, they were under 400 million a day. And now they're up to almost $1 billion a day. So their trading volumes continue to rise. And you may be saying, okay, fine. Well, what about transaction fees going up? Well, you have all these solutions like Loop Rings and ZK rollups that are helping bring transactions down through off-chain computation that kind of in a way batch transactions to reduce network congestion. So that's solved, right? And then that's why when you have Uniswap and you have SushiSwap and you have all these other tokens that Monty was just talking about, that's why ETH is my second pick. All of these contribute to the Ethereum ecosystem. And when you have all of these projects kind of rising up and you have those assets, total value lock going up 40 billion now or just under 40 billion according to DeFi Pulse, I mean, that's a no-brainer. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And the more that the total value locked in DeFi goes up and the more people have to use Ethereum to get in and out of all these protocol tokens, the more Ethereum's value is going to rise, right? And then finally, our good friend VGX. Voyager's about to move into Europe. They're doing a number of things here in the States and in Canada. They've introduced new value. What is it?
VLP.
VLP, there it is. The VLP, the loyalty program to incentivize further buying of the token. And when you're moving into an entirely new continent, as they are with Europe, it's only a matter of time until adoption of the token rises and drives the value of that up as well. So that's the short of Monty's long.
All right, there we go. Mr. CJ, you are up.
Those were very thoughtful analysis.
For a non-analyst PR guy like myself.
My top 3 picks are Dogecoin, Ethereum Classic, and Bitcoin SV.
This guy.
This guy. Come on, man.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Not as funny as I thought it would have been.
I think it was
I'll
very
start off.
funny.
What was that?
I think it was very funny.
Real CJ.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My first pick is going to be KNC, Kyber Network.
Okay.
This is very in line with what Ryan was talking about with Uni. I just think that Kyber is going to be a faster horse than Uniswap. They're
Okay.
both decentralized exchanges. When I think of the decentralized exchange ecosystem, I primarily think of Uniswap, Sushi, and Kyber Network. After using all three of them and looking at the respective volumes, I really like Kyber. And when you compare the volume metrics, like compared to Uniswap and some of these others, and then you compare it based on market cap, there seems to be a market inefficiency between Uniswap and Kyber Network. It seems that Kyber Network is undervalued when compared to those other exchanges. And then when you combine that with the aspect that the space is going to grow regardless, or has a very high likelihood of growing regardless, then it seems like a very nice play to park retail capital. And just to be frank, I think Monty's picks were very safe, and I would agree with them. I'm going for like very low cap. Some may call them shit coins. I like to call them ignition assets. But
I like to call them opportunities.
Yes.
The second one is going to be StormX. StormX is just such a low market cap coin, and it's such an interesting retail product. Let's see, it has a market cap of just under 100 million right now. And this network is a lot like Voyager token or VGX or Binance token or Celsius token, in the sense that it is highly reliant on the growing network of users who use the particular StormX app. And so when you use the StormX app, you can buy various things and you get rewards and cash back in crypto as a result of this. I've used their app. Their wallet is connected to MetaMask. You can stake StormX for 20% interest. It's a really cool app, a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. And it's just so small that I think if people start like really recognizing its potential and start hyping it up, it could grow very, very drastically. Like I said, not necessarily the safest plays, but more of the ignition risk on type plays, what I'm talking about here. And then the final one will be Terra or Luna. And that is just strictly because of the players who are involved and the price action that we've already seen thus far. If you guys have not followed Luna at all, something that is very unique about it is that it's supported by the Terra Alliance, which is a group presumably who owns quite a bit of Terra. We know exchanges such as Binance and Huobi own some Terra and have an incentive to see the price go up. And ultimately, this kind of alliance it's from 10 different countries representing a user base of over 45 million and a gross merchandise value of over 25 billion in this particular alliance. So when you have this combined with really substantial backing and price action that follows it, I think it gets a lot of people more comfortable with jumping on the Terra or Luna bandwagon, so to speak. Very exotic when you first come into the space.
I almost picked StormX, almost.
Glad you didn't, Ryan, because I think CJ's picks were rather crappy with the exception of one.
No, I mean, look, StormX has done well. Momentum is behind it. The community it has is active. Sentiment is, near or uniformly positive, at least in the long term. I think that's a great pick.
All right.
Don't talk too soon, Alex. You haven't given your picks out yet, man.
All right. Well, my picks. I picked three, and then I added in a designated hitter, and the reason for that is I knew there was going to be a couple of people on this panel that took at least one of mine. But here's my selection. So my number one pick, okay, is VGX right now, and this is, again, we're in this for the long term, for the year, and I'm a person who likes to invest in people, and I love the people at most of these picks. So to Ryan's point, we got Voyager, we have the VGX token introduced a VLP program. They're going into Canada and Europe very shortly, and we have an LGO swap going on, or I'm sorry, not an LGO swap. We have a token swap going on as well in the coming months. So looking forward to that. But VGX is number one. Number two is going to be Swissborg, ticker CHSB. And I really like Swissborg. I was just texting back and forth with the founders this morning. So much like the Voyager team, Cyrus and his team over there in Switzerland have been really killing it, and they've grown a big community. As you can see, my picks are actually a lot of platform picks, and I'm really excited about that. So Swissborg, I believe, I don't think they're going to be a contender, a competitor against Voyager. When Voyager moves into that market, I think it'll be a rather complementary playing field. But Swissborg and Voyager, by the way, FYI, both ranked right next to each other from a market cap size, so it's almost like a fight. And then as you go, like we have here, we have market cap 773 million for Voyager, 841 for Swissborg. Okay, so my next one is Kyber Network, KNC. Now, I don't know anybody over at Kyber Network, but what I do like is I like exactly what CJ has been pointing out for the last couple of weeks. Now, when we covered KNC, I think it's going back two and a half weeks ago now, this market cap of 100 million was actually about 300 million, wasn't it, CJ, when we first took a look? But now you can see that this has gone up significantly. I think they're undervalued to everybody else's point. And I think that at this price point we got going on here, they are relatively inexpensive and undervalued for who they are. The problem I see, and I don't understand why just yet, is that KNC has a bearish long-term sentiment with a score 25. I'm really hoping that people recognize the value of this platform and we can swing that around. And then my last, by the way, look at this. This just came out with Kyber Network a short time ago, a few days ago. All-time high, 858 million trading volume for January 2021. I have no idea why KNC's price is not 3 times the amount it is right now. Going into my designated hitter one is Aave. Now, Aave is way better than something called StormX, okay? They're creating real value in the, I'm just joking. So Stani and the team over there are creating some really cool synthetic financial products with Aave, everything from interest rate swaps to loans, variable interest loans to hopefully mortgages soon. Maybe I'll buy my next house with Aave, who knows? And then going to the sentiment chart, I like the bullish outlook, but you know, it's a little down for the day on everybody's note. So those are my 3 picks and my designated hitter. I am sorry I added one at the last minute.
You know what I like about a lot of these tokens? They all lift ETH higher.
Really do. I mean, ETH shouldn't have been allowed as a pick because it all benefits King ETH.
ETH Maxi.
I think something's,
Alex,
I think Ryan's changed. Sorry, CJ.
Yeah, fundamentals of StormX. Like, I mean, this market doesn't always trade on fundamentals. Like, if something gets going, like it'll just go indefinitely. And like, that's what's been happening with VGX. Obviously, there also are solid fundamentals behind it. But a lot of this has to do with market cap and how high something has already gone up already. I love Aave. I love your picks, Alex, your picks. Yeah, I mean, Aave is already at like what, 5.4 billion. It could go to 20 billion or 30 billion, but that's a big jump. So.
Okay, so you know it's all right. I don't mind getting shot down. You know, it's good. That's why I had 4. You know, I could drop one. But you know, to your point, there's not a lot of fundamentals, right? When you came out with your picks, you joked right off the bat, hey, I'm BSV, hey, I'm this, I'm that. I forget the other 2 right off, but Doge and another one. But those have showed very exponential performance. in their own right, right? We may not like them or believe in them, but it's not about the fundamentals all the time. So it's riding the hype trading. We're going to start a new show called Hype Trading.
Craig Wright trade.
XRP.
The Craig Wright trade. That's what's driving BSV.
No, seriously, guys. Like, sometimes in markets, like scams pump the hardest. It's just, I mean, until they don't. But we've seen it a lot. We've seen it with BitConnect. We've seen it with Hex. We've seen it with those assets you just mentioned, of course. And Doge isn't a scam, you know, per se.
It's a joke.
But it doesn't have, you know, what, you know, I couldn't convince somebody to invest $50 million into Dogecoin for a next 5-year period, you know. But
Meme value.
Yeah.
50 million meme
it doesn't mean value. We did discuss the fundamentals of Doge.
So I have my newborn son crawling around my feet. That's why I keep getting distracted. I don't know if you can hear him in the background.
All good, all good. All right, cool. Well, folks, that's it. You heard R3 for this year. That may change. If it does update, we will let you know, so you stay on top of it. None of what we've just said is financial advice. It's only how we plan on losing money. I mean, making money. And
Speak for yourself. I'm gonna lose all of it.
whatever Ryan's picks were, take something else.
And we should have a bet on the outcome of these 3 picks across all of our respective choices. But I'll let you guys determine whatever the reward is for the winner.
Yeah, I like that. I think we'll announce at our next show, like our next check-in. We'll have 2 check-ins. We'll have one in 30 days, and you know, and then do another one after that. But we'll do some rewarding along the way. I like it.
And the loser should have to do an episode in like clown makeup or something.
Oh,
Last place punishment. I think
that
that'd
actually could be fun.
I'm down.
Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna think about
What
this.
is this?
Guys.
The Ethereum Foundation? Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like,
We all know CJ's gonna lose, so we're just gonna think of the worst uncomfortable thing we can make the loser do so that he does it. But no, that's not. I'm just picking on CJ this episode. All right, folks, you heard it here first. We're the winners. We picked them. But no, in all seriousness, hang on to your handlebars. Tomorrow's hump day. Let's get through that. Let's hope for $50,000 Bitcoin very soon. And that's it from us. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone.